Hi everyone, Tina in the community just asked a question around Nintex Live and new responsive for Office 365. Well, I assume that's what the question is. So we're in the new responsive 365 current limitations page, and Tina was saying that she spent a few days working on a new form, only to find out that Nintex Live isn't supported. So Nintex Live, for those that don't know, was a service that you had available in Nintex Forms for SharePoint on premises, and you could build a form and you could publish it to an external service that Nintex hosted called Nintex Live, and then people in the public could use that form and it would push data back into your SharePoint on-prem. Now the thing with Nintex Live is we only support Classic and only support on-prem for Nintex Live. So we never have supported Nintex Live in 365, and we've never supported Classic or Old Responsive or New Responsive in 365. So this was never actually something we've actually ever supported. But there is an option for you, Tina. If you wanted to, you can actually use Nintex Workflow Cloud to push data back into 365 from the public. So since you're using Office 365, you're licensed to use Nintex Workflow Cloud. So how would I go about this? Well, first I've gone and created a simple list. So where's my simple list? Let's say it's called simple list, I think. Simple list. So I've got a simple list here in my 365 site, and I'm going to say title, and I add another column, and I'm going to say email, and I don't know, currency. Okay, so I've got a bunch of things in there, and then I come to Nintex Workflow Cloud. Now I go and create a new workflow. Okay, so I click on form, and you'll see here I can design a form and give access to authenticated users in this tenancy. So that could be people that you've added to your Nintex Workflow Cloud tenancy, or someone that may be in your Active Directory user directory if you've federated to Nintex Workflow Cloud. So what we want is just to say anyone with the form URL. So it's a public form, and so you'll see web is turned on and Nintex Mobile is not enabled because you need to have a login to use Nintex Mobile. So now we've done that, we're going to go and click the design form button, and we're going to have an email, and we're going to have a currency, and we're going to say a text short. We'll make that title. So we'll go title, email, and currency. Okay, so simple form, not a really good business process, and so all the controls become variables that come back to the workflow, and then you can say SharePoint, create an item, and you come through here. So a connection is something you've set up to your tenancy, so it's got the authentication, the credentials, and the tenant in that connection. So I'm going to select my Universal Forms 365 tenant, and if I come through to here, I can grab the URL to my tenant, paste it in there. When I click on the tick, it's going to go off and find out what lists do I have in that tenancy. So I come down to simple list. Okay, and now we can add some fields. So I'm going to click on add fields, and hopefully soon we can see title, email, and currency. So title hasn't come through, not sure why, but title's already there. That was silly me. So I can put a variable in here, so I can say start event, and I can add title, and we're going to add currency and email, so I'll add those two as well, and then we can start putting variables in there. So currency is going to have the current, so this is the currency field in here, and I've just named my controls the same thing, so your variables and your columns are going to be the same thing, but it depends on your business process. And then finally we're going to insert email there. So once it's all done, I don't really need to store the item ID or the URL. I'm going to click OK, and so then we can go and publish. Okay, I'm going to say testing Nintex Live replacement. Okay. So once that's published, it's going to put a form out in the public, and whoever's got the URL can actually go and submit data and push data back into my 365 environment. So I'm going to click on this button here so I can copy the URL or copy the snippet to embed it somewhere. So I'm just going to open up a new tab. Now we'll just confirm there's nothing in here, pressing F5, there's nothing in the list here. Close this window here, so there's nothing in the list, and I come in here and say hello world, and ewan.gamble@nintex.com if you want to email me, and we're going to put $24.40. Okay, so we're going to go and submit, and what's going to happen is that data gets passed to the workflow as some pieces of data, some variables, and the workflow grabs those, and it's going to use that that create item, that SharePoint action, which was it called? Continue designing the create item action for SharePoint Online when that workflow runs. So we'll go and close, and before I even know it, this will probably appear. Depends how quickly the workflow is going to run, basically. So if I go to instances, and we'll see that we've got it's already completed. So if I come back to here, and there we go. So hello world, my email address and my currencies come through. So it's a pretty simple process, but it works really, really well. So using Nintex Workflow Cloud in combination with a public form, pushing data into Office 365 is a really good replacement for Nintex Live from SharePoint On-Prem. So hope that's helpful to you. Let me know in the comments. Cheers.